Hello! Welcome to the session Xamarin and the Cloud. My name is Hamida Rebai. I am Microsoft MVP in Developer Technologies, .NET consultant, technical writer, blogger, and speaker. You have my email here, and you can follow me on Twitter or LinkedIn if you have any questions. Xamarin lets you build a cross-platform mobile application in Android, iOS, and Windows Phone app in C# rather than Objective-C or Java. To build a scaled application, you need a backend platform that it can work everywhere, every time to scale your needs, like Microsoft Azure. Azure has a huge capabilities and features to be used by Xamarin apps. During this session, we will use Xamarin with Microsoft Azure Mobile Services. To start, you need Visual Studio, the last version of 2017. The new version of Visual Studio 2019, the preview one. And you need an Azure account to be able to create our mobile apps services. You have to set up your development environment by installing the last version of Azure SDK. Our demo will cover only Android application. But if you do like to use the same for iOS, you need only to use Mac with the last version of Xcode and Apple developer account. So let's start now. Today we will learn how you can create mobile app services. You will enable single sign-on for your mobile application with user authentication. After, we will demonstrate how we personalize push notifications to millions of users in short time. We will talk about Azure storage, offline sync, we will use some cognitive services, and we will finish by mobile DevOps. We will start here by creating a new mobile apps. So we'll type mobile app, and here we will create our mobile app services. So we will click here. We can find the documentation for Xamarin or Android native language, and we will find different steps to create it in Azure, to create the database for Android, for iOS, and how we can integrate that in Visual Studio. So let's click on create. I will give a name to our app. I will create a new research group here, and we can enable the InSign application. I will keep it in disable for now, and we will click on create now. Now our mobile app services is in creation and it starts to be deployed. Here, as you can see, deployment in progress. So we need to wait a few minutes to get our app. Here we find our application, our mobile apps. So we will go to our research to check if it's deployed or not. Here our URL. As you can see here, our app is up and running, so it's okay, it's deployed with that success. Here we find all information related to the FTP to be able to upload our web application, all what we need to communicate with our mobile application, the backend part. And here we can find many information related to database, the course, for example. We have the activity log here, and we can find application settings. We can find many options, many features. Now we will show you how to configure Azure App Service to use Google as an authentication provider. To complete that, you must have a Google account that has a verified email address. Now we will go to Azure portal to check again our app service. Here in the settings, we will find authentication authorization. We will click on to enable that. As you can see, here we can find many providers to authenticate our application. So Azure offers us a connection with Active Directory in Azure, Facebook, Google, Twitter, Microsoft account. So for our case, we will click on Google. We need to produce a client ID and a client secret. Here I will try to use my authentication. So this is the link that we can use it to the console developer Google to create a new authentication. So we will type my email here, click next to get credential, and when we get the credential we click on OK. Now we will navigate to the Google API's website. We sign with our Google account credential. We will create our project. I'll give a name to this project. After I will click on create button. Once the project is created, we will select it. After we will go to the project dashboard, I will click to go to APIs overview. After I will select enable APIs and services. Search for a Google Plus API and select it. Then click on enable. So in the left navigation, we have credentials, auto consent screen. Then we will select our email address, we will enter the product name and we click on save. In the credentials tab, we will click on create credentials, auth client ID. After, on the create client ID screen, we will select web application. Now, as you can see here, I will give a name. I will try to do a copy from the link of our application. Here, it requests to give an authorization. So we need to add it in the list of authorized domain. So now we go to the list to add our URL. So we go back to auth consent screen to add our URL to the authorized domain. So here we'll add it without HTTPS, as you can see here. Now we go back to credentials. Here we click on save before. Okay, let's go here, and it's okay, it's added. And we go back to create auth client. My school, I'll give the same name. I will add our URL. As you can see, it's now accepted as a link. I will add the same. And here we can find this in this place. Here we will add the callback, and after we will click on save. As you can see here, we can add two links of both of them. Now we go back here to click on save, and we will have the auth client. Now here, as you can see, we have our auth client. So I will click copy the client ID to add it in here in Azure. Okay. After I will click my client secrets, copy, and here I will add it in secrets. I will delete this space. Now we click on OK to start configuring our single sign-on authorization for Google. Here, as you can see, it's configured in Azure. So now we click on save. I will only work on Google, but it's the same thing for Twitter, Microsoft, Azure Active Directory, or Facebook. So I will click on save. So here, as you can see, my settings are saved in this link. And now here we will try to use this link with the callback to test it in a browser. Here you find my account. I will try to do the authentication and it's okay now. My app service is running. After adding our DLL of Microsoft Azure Mobile Client, just integrated the DLL here I will add an interface, and we will add some authenticate to be able to do the authentication in asynchronous mode. To use after we will do Xamarin Forms, that we need to add the main activity. You will find this code source in GitHub. So we'll use the interface to implement. Here we have this method. We need to call in the Android. We created authentication manager to be able to create an instance from mobile service client. Here we will try to create a new client using the SDK. Now we will go to Twitter. As you can see, this is the link of the app. I will try to configure my account to be able to create my APIs for the app. So yeah, we start by verifying my phone number. After, we will go to account detail. So we give a name to the account to be able to create our app. So I will give a name of my school MOOC. I will use the same name every time to be able to not forget that. The country, Canada now, and I will choose here why I need to this project to create this project. So we need to fill many things to be able to give a description why I need to create this API. So for me, I will do this configuration to be able to create a new app and to be able to use it after the authentication, the credential of Twitter in our mobile app service configuration in the settings of authentication. Now here I'm trying to write some description. After I get the agreement, the term of service, I need to accept this. I need to scroll our agreement to be able to read all the contents. As you can see, it's disabled, so I need to scroll to read all the content and to accept that, and I will submit the application. Here I need to verify my email, so I will receive an email on my here, as you can see on my Gmail. I'm using Gmail. And now we will start to create our application. Here we find many options. So we create the app, I give a name, website, and the callback link. And I will show you how you can get that. We can find this in the documentation of Microsoft. Here I will give my link of previous link. Here, as you can see in the documentation of Microsoft, we find what we need to add for the callback for the link. So I will try to copy the Azure link. Here my application is running with this callback. Now we try to see if we are able to create, but we need to add the link of our web application. Here I need to give some description. Okay, it should be not short, it should be longer, 100 characters at least. We still need to add now. The link of my service. So I will copy that here. Try to verify if it's okay about number of character. It's okay. It's required. Here we will add the URL. So I will take the link, we'll copy that, paste that. After I will create my app. We click on create button. Now it's created. So we'll go to keys in the tab keys and tokens, and we will find our API key, API credentials or credential that we need. Now we go back to Azure. I'm going to my mobile apps. I'm going to Twitter configuration. I will copy API keys and the other one, as you can see. So we have to click on OK and save. And now, as you can see, Twitter is configured as Google. Now we go back to our project where we see how we can use these credentials of Twitter. We can do the same, but here I will just show you how to replace. So it's only we need to replace Google by Twitter or Facebook if we want to do the same for Facebook. And here we change the Google with Twitter, and you can run your project using this constant as URL for application and schema, and it's okay. Here we do the call, authentication, and the callback, our callback. It's the same thing for Facebook or for Microsoft or for Active Directory, Azure Active Directory. Now we will move to the push notifications. Azure Notification Hubs provide an easy-to-use infrastructure that enables users to send mobile push notifications from any backend in the cloud or on-premises to all major platforms including iOS, Android, and Windows. In the next part, we will see how we can configure the notification in Azure. Now we will try to create a new notification hub. So we click on create research here. I will try to make search here. And we find notification hub. We click here, we have the description. It's why we use it, to send push notification to any platform, as we explained before. And after we click on create, we give a name. I will say my school mock notif. Create a new namespace, notification school, for example. try to see East US. I will use we create a new one here. Okay, motif. Okay, and we click on create. And here our notification is created. Here we have the deployment in progress. After we will try to check it in the dashboard. You will find it in the dashboard, even in the deployment will finish. Here, as you can see, if you go to our notification, when we click it and go to research, we find here that we can do our authentication mode about the notification for any platform, for Apple, for iOS, Google, for Android, Windows, for any link on Windows Phone. So here we can do setting for many platforms, as you can see. And here in the link here we have an example that explain how we can do our settings to push notification in server side. So for Android, it explains how we can enable Google Cloud Messaging, configure our notification app. For iOS, for Windows 10 Mobile, for Windows Phone. And here, if we go back to our application, we will just take the instance of Microsoft mobile services, and we will try to invoke API asynchron. Here, for example, in the sample, he will send notification. He will trigger a push notification when we try to buy an item. Here, thank you for buying this item. It's just a notification, and it's only this. So we just create the condition to push it. And to set our notification to our mobile app, here we will try to search for notification. We click on push. We try to connect, and we associate the previous one. Here, as you can see, we get my notification here. So next we will talk about storage and data connection. In Azure we have Azure Storage that is massively scalable and accessible from anywhere and from any device. So we will go to Azure and we will try to see how we can do that. So in Azure we have here storage, and we can create a storage account, blob, file, table, queue, whatever. So it depends from what we need. And here we try to configure. We give a name to storage, we give a location, we need to choose the performance, the capacity. So we need to configure our storage account. Finally, you need to allow your backend part to respond to a client request by adding a storage control to your server. As you can know that mobile users need to access data at all time, even offline. So use offline data sync is useful to make sure your user can view, create and modify data even when they experience connectivity issues or are offline. So the Azure Mobile SDK include offline data sync capabilities, creating apps that remain functional without a network connection. So we'll see next part how we can use offline data sync and how to configure it in Azure. Now we go back to our Xamarin Forms application, and we will try to add a new DLL, new NuGet package here to store our data. So we will use Microsoft Azure Mobile Client SQLite Store to store all data that we need that we needed when the user is offline. So we will install it for Android, iOS, and if we have Windows Phone, we will add it too. So in my manager, I will create a method initialize to be able to store, to get, and to set my data. So I will create an object. This object can be an employee and whatever, so it's an object, it's generic, simple. So data that we want to store. Here we start by creating the path, the name of database that we need to create it. After we give the path, this path name to as an instance to mobile service Sqlite store. Here we define the table with the type defined. I say that can be an employee, an item, a product, whatever, any object that we need to store. And here we initialize our store, and we get our sync table that will call out to Azure here. So as you can see, I used the same application URL of my previous URL deployed on my previous mobile app service used when we started our session. Now we pass to Microsoft Cognitive Services. Is a set of APIs, SDK, and servers available to developers to make their application more intelligent, engaging, and discoverable. Microsoft Cognitive Services expand on Microsoft's evolving portfolio of machine learning APIs and enables developers to easily add intelligent features such as emotion and video detection, facial, speech, and vision recognition, and speech and language understanding into their applications. So to do that, let's go to Azure. Here, Cognitive Services. So here we can try vision APIs, speech APIs. Here we can get the API keys, language APIs, search APIs. As you can see here, we use Bing search. Now go back to Azure portal. I will try to search for Cognitive Services because we would like to try emotion APIs. Here we find all, so let's create one. We click on create, we give a name, emotion API. We need to choose a price. We need to choose research group. I will take the previous one, my school. Okay, it's okay. Here we click on create. All what we need is the credential to be used after in our Xamarin Forms application to test the emotion APIs. So here it's on progress. Now you go to our emotion APIs here, and we will try to check our keys. Here we find more information how we can use. So here we can add in our application our keys here. After, for Android part, we will add this one to test face emotion, and we get an error for if we have an exception. The same for iOS. You can check this in the GitHub for Microsoft related to cognitive services. Now we will finish by mobile DevOps. As any solution, we need to ensure a continuous delivery for our application. To do that, we can use for Xamarin Forms Azure DevOps. We can upload our source code, or just to give a link of GitHub if it's an open source, and we can create pipelines and we create a release note, and to ensure all the process of continuous delivery. And in the end, we can use Visual Studio App Center that ensure a proper build to your application, and we can test on real devices and distribute it to beta testers. Using Visual Studio App Center, we can collect crash report, user analytics, including custom events, and we can configure notification to our application in minutes. Thank you.